Hello, I'm Davia Chambers and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're at the Chic Boutique Hotel in Bon Accord, a newly upgraded hotel purchased in May of this year and relaunched on December 1st just in time for Christmas. The hotel boasts of 40 rooms, a restaurant and bar, a banqueting suite, meeting rooms, a spa and a gymnasium is in the works. The new owner, Carolyn Lloyd, has transformed the entire property into a chic, modern establishment, hence the name. We'll tell you more about this place, but first, a look back at the pieces that captured our imagination and fueled our passion. We're calling this the best of Let's Talk Tobago. This is Let's Talk Tobago, and today you're joining us at the all-new Chic Boutique Hotel in Bon Accord, where we're taking a look back at the stories that fueled our passion in 2014 and ultimately made Tobago a better place. But before we get into the details, let's tell you a little more about our location. Chic is located right next door to the popular Shade nightclub, which means you're not far away from one aspect of Tobago's nightlife. But this hotel is also just about 5 minutes away from the A&R Robinson International Airport in Crown Point. And while we're on the issue of the airport, which we of course associate with tourists and visitors, let's look back at some good news for the tourism sector on this island.
The first of many calls for the 2014-2015 cruise ship season, the Mein Schiff 1, is scheduled to grace our shores each fortnight with close to 2,000 new visitors on each trip for the winter season. Samuel Henry, Transportation Coordinator with the Division of Tourism and Transportation, says that this is only the tip of the iceberg. The division has exceeded its goals for cruise ship visitors this season.
We had targeted 50,000 cruise passengers or cruise visitors to Tobago during the 2014-2015 cruise season. And it's good to know that we have surpassed that number, and we are looking at over 60,000 guests coming to the island on cruise ships this season.
Mr. Henry also did the math for us. He said that each cruise ship visitor spends an average of US $25. Now, with 60,000 scheduled cruise ship visitors coming to Tobago, we can look forward to a revenue of about $9 million. This, combined with the return of Virgin Airlines, will see a big boost for Tobago tourism this winter season. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
Staying with the tourism theme, in 2014, marketing campaigns in our sister isle, such as the Got to Go Tobago Roadshow and those that promote events like Tobago Day at the Races, gave Trinidadians a snippet of Tobagonian music, culture and food. And that's probably why so many of them gave up that plane ride to Miami or even Europe and gravitated to the capital of paradise. Here's a reminder of why more Trinis chose Tobago.
Locals can choose Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, or as a matter of fact, anywhere else they see fit to spend their vacation. But instead, they're opting to come to Tobago. And last year, more than any other time, the number of domestic tourists increased. More than 500,000 Trinidadians came to this island, spending more than $100 million. Domestic travelers increased by 3% in 2013, with 50,000 more arrivals than 2012. Data from tourism associations, flights and ferries in and out of the island indicate that more Trinidadians are traveling to Tobago for quick breaks and 1 to 3 day retreats. One traveler from San Fernando picks Tobago every time he needs a break. And this is how a family from Palo Seco summed up their choice. But that's also due to the increased airlift and ferry traveling during peak seasons in April, July and December, and during popular festivals such as the Tobago Jazz Experience, Tobago Heritage Festival and the Blue Food Festival. and what the travel pundits might say is great bragging rights for the Division of Tourism and Transportation, whose movers and shakers have been paying keen attention to the domestic market. I'm Omodara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
And this island had even more to celebrate as one Tobagonian distinguished himself in the academic field. Nelson Mandela said that education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Now, with rising crime threatening the tourism sector here on this island, Wendell Wallace decided it was time to look at the issue of community involvement in policing. He describes it as a long and arduous journey, but it's a route that sets him apart from the rest on this island.
Some students take a break from studying once they've completed high school. Others decide to pursue tertiary education, complete a degree and get it over with. After those 3 or sometimes 4 years, there are those who go even further, completing a master's degree. But only a few achieve a doctoral degree or PhD, and somehow manage to be the first at a university to defend their paper. Well, that's Dr. Wendell Wallace from this little fishing village in the north of the island, Castara. He's the first student from the University of the West Indies' Criminology and Criminal Justice program at the St. Augustine campus to pull this off.
Actually, when I started the master's program, the aim was just to complete a master's. I had no intentions whatsoever of going on to a PhD. One of the lecturers there, Dr. Joan Mars, she had a keen interest in me and in my writing. And she encouraged me to pursue the PhD at the State University of New York. However, due to funding, I couldn't make it. Additionally, outside of the interest by Dr. Mars, I actually fell in love with criminology.
Dr. Wallace says it took him 4 years from 2008 to complete and submit the research paper for his PhD and 2 years for it to be corrected. He explains what that paper is about.
I might have been a bit fortunate in that the area that I chose to study, which was community involvement in policing, not community policing, was very much understudied throughout the world. So I would have received much support and much, much persons who wanted to see the final product. When I looked at the level of involvement, I basically realized that we, the citizens, acted just very much passively as the eyes and ears of the police without any real involvement.
As of such, he wants to assist in developing community involvement in policing here.
On a more common level, I am certainly willing to assist in rolling out any sort of policies, assisting in some of the simpler aspects, for example, getting community residents involved, sharing my research. I've been to several areas throughout Tobago, lecturing and doing presentations.
Dr. Wendell Wallace formally received his PhD in September. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
We're taking a break, but coming up, on the other side, we'll tell you why Tobago just might be the first Caribbean country to be rid of landfills. Thanks for staying with us. You're viewing Let's Talk Tobago, and we're calling this the Best of 2014, a look back at the stories that fueled our passion and ultimately made Tobago a better place. Today we're coming to you from the new Chic Boutique Hotel in Bon Accord. Chic has some rather interesting features, as the owner, Carolyn, wanted to create a place where visitors and guests would enjoy the surroundings just as much as their exploration of the sights in Tobago. The courtyard is well landscaped and spacious, with this bar aptly called the Flip-Flop Bar, where you can cool off after your dip in the pool. But the relaxation does not end here, as there's the in-house Tempo restaurant and bar that you would want to visit at dinner time. But let's leave it there for now to deal with a project that could change the way Tobago deals with its waste. landfills are the easiest and cheapest solution to getting rid of garbage. But they're also a threat to our health and the environment. So a plan is in train to eliminate all landfills and go green. The wheels of that plan have already started turning, beginning with an agreement for a Canadian company, Fourth State Energy Incorporated, to conduct a pre-feasibility study. That study will seek to answer the why and how this island can turn its waste into energy.
As a tourist destination, Tobago is very aware of the environmental hazards of landfills. That's why one of the main objectives of the Tobago House of Assembly's Comprehensive Economic Development Plan 2.0 is to ensure this island remains clean, green, safe and serene. Having a landfill deviates from this, so Tobago wants to go the route of first world countries in creating a world without waste. In other words, Tobago wants to be landfill free. This project, once viable, will make Tobago the first in the Caribbean region to have a plant of this kind.
The feasibility study would really tell us how much waste we produce, what is the characteristic of the waste, how much energy we would get from those wastes. If we are to establish a waste-to-energy plant, what is the best location for the establishment of such a plant, and whether the whole project is viable. So that feasibility study is going to inform the THA whether this project is a viable project and is a worthy project.
With the approval of the feasibility project, a site will be selected for the energy plant. And with that energy plant comes a boost for our economy.
I can't say how much the plant would be now until the study's done, but I have an idea how much it would put into the economy, and it would be a significant amount of money back into the economy. I can tell you that I would expect that there would be 40 to 60 full-time jobs. And those jobs would be anything from people sorting the waste to engineers running the plant. So there's a scale of employment there. So it's not just low wage jobs, it's also very high wage jobs.
But according to Mr. Mader, the greatest advantage of having this waste disposable project is having renewable electricity.
We always have waste, and we always have to put it someplace. So if you look at a place like Tobago that's very small, and as the population grows and more visitors come for tourism, where are you going to put the waste? And environmentally and health-wise, what does that waste mean? Whereas if you take it to our plant, wherever that may be, and you solarize the waste and turn it into clean, green electricity, there's no smell, no birds, no fires.
The feasibility study costs around $600,000 and is expected to last around 3 months. At the end of that period, a feasibility report will be handed into the THA, which will decide on the way forward. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
And here's a reminder of another positive development. If you know or ever heard the story of a cancer survivor, you'd also know that living with cancer isn't easy. Patients are often weak and nauseous, and while some of them might not ask, they can all do with more help and care. In 2014, those in charge of healthcare in Tobago made it their duty to ensure that cancer patients don't endure any additional suffering. They've introduced what's known as the Community Palliative Care Service.
An important part of cancer care and other life-threatening diseases, as recommended by the World Health Organization, is palliative care, which simply means the relief or lessening of symptoms and side effects from treatments in a home setting.
It prevents or treats symptoms and side effects of diseases and treatments. It also cares and treats emotional, social, physical, and spiritual problems that illness brings up. When the patient feels better in these areas, he or she has an improved quality of life.
The Community Palliative Care Service is piloted using cancer patients. Follow-up visits will be carried out, as well as clinical supervisions weekly. This, according to one physician, really makes a difference.
When we ask Wahida, look, you're very down. We've got the psychiatrist to see her at this point. We've got the psychologist giving input. We're trying to get her outside, improve her mood. What do you want, Wahida? I haven't had snow cone for years. So we got Snow Cone to come to Wahida. And then she went home 2-3 days after this. So it's just, little things making a difference to people. And my experience is that the expectation of the healthcare service is so bad that actually all you need to do is care for people properly.
And the launch of this care service brings Tobago one step nearer to beating cancer.
People come for treatment, they come for chemotherapy, and when they're too sick to come, they just don't come. And nobody realizes that Mr. Brown hasn't come. We haven't seen him last session. He just rescheduled the appointment. Nobody notices. And then you pick up your Express or your Guardian and you read your obituary page, and there's Mr. Brown. And everything that happened between that last visit to St. James and that day in the obituary page, nobody really knows about. Palliative care is more than just addressing what happens when the wheels come off. It's a perspective.
Team members of the Community Palliative Care Service will document the care that they have provided. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
Care and compassion also drove the establishment of a sanctuary where Tobagonians can get help. The people behind this project understood that good intentions and willpower aren't always enough to beat drug addiction. They knew that most people can't do it on their own. That's why it was so important for this island to get its own rehab center.
The words of a former drug addict who in his time had nowhere to go on this island to rebuild his life. But now there's a sanctuary for drug addicts to be positively reintegrated to society with the needed vocation and social skills.
We would have seen addicts seeking treatment go to Trinidad and never return. And hence the reason that we started advocating for a rehab center in Tobago, because it would have given the families an opportunity to serve their loved ones who will have got caught in the addictive process.
And because the use of illicit drugs is an increasing problem in Tobago, the medical chief of staff says this is yet another milestone in the delivery of healthcare services.
We know that these individuals who are affected, we tend to say an individual is affected, a society and a family are affected. And with this, I am very happy to be a part of this milestone at this point in time.
The facility will also be used to restore persons with mental health illnesses. The center is a project of the Division of Health and Social Services. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
It's time to take another break, but coming up, the year Scarborough Methodist featured in a National Geographic video. This is Let's Talk Tobago, and today you're joining us at the new Chic Boutique Hotel in Bon Accord as we're looking back at the stories that fueled our passion and ultimately made Tobago a better place in 2014. Here at Chic Boutique Hotel, the owner Carolyn strives to make your stay here a memorable one. So in addition to providing excellent customer service, she has also decorated the premises with paintings and pictures done by renowned local artist Martin Superville. Chic provides conference room facilities from which you can choose either the Soca, Kaiso or Rapso suite. But don't worry, after a long day, you can enjoy the pampering services of their in-house Oceans of Notions Spa by Lisa Lovell. And it's experiences like that Canadian Nadine Sikora was exposed to during her 60 days in paradise as Tobago's island connoisseur. As you might recall, Nadine won a trip to spend 2 months here exploring the wonders of this island. But part of that package entailed her telling the world about Tobago. This is how that turned out.
Canadian Nadine Sikora has completed her 60 days in paradise as Tobago's island connoisseur. Miss Sikora spent a 2-month-long period experiencing the wonders of Tobago. The Vancouver native says that although there's a lot to see and do in Tobago, the outdoor activities are part of her most memorable experiences.
Diving in Speyside, I think you guys have some beautiful dive sites all around the island, not just in Speyside, but Kerouac and Flying Reef. So any divers, for sure. I think hiking through the rainforest, your bird species, there's so many different varieties and so many that are just native to Tobago. Riding with horses, this is one of my favorites, riding with horses in Buku and seeing a giant eagle ray come up right in between us while we were in the water. I think that's just so incredible and memorable.
Tobago's island connoisseur didn't just spend her 60 days on island experiencing the magic of Tobago. She also had to tell the world all about it through social media.
I've been posting a bunch of stuff on my Facebook. My Facebook has over 17,000 different followers. And then I have my Instagram, which has 11,300. I have my Google Plus, which has 96,000 people following. And then I have my YouTube channel, which is where my videos go, and that has 167,000 followers. So all of them are getting a chance to see all the different things there is to do and see in Tobago and how beautiful it is here.
The Division of Tourism and Transportation's marketing manager, Avian Hercules, says that the Island Connoisseur program is an initiative to promote the destination.
This is how the Island Connoisseur program is built on. It's built on a word-of-mouth referral system where we get somebody who was not experienced Tobago, was not experienced perhaps even the Caribbean, and essentially coming here and learning all the things that make us different and unique and special, and selling that and promoting that through their own eyes.
Nadine was hosted by 18 bed and breakfast and hotel properties and more than 10 restaurants on the island. From the Division of Tourism and Transportation, I'm Julia James reporting for Let's Talk Tobago.
And another aspect of this island was on display for all the world to see. The project, spearheaded by National Geographic Learning, involved 18 second year and Standard 1 students from Scarborough Methodist School. Let's remind you of the joy and the pride experienced back then.
Games and activities make learning fun for children. Through Welcome to Our World, a 3-level pre-primary series. Children from all around the world are learning English, with songs performed by young learners.
Music and songs are an essential part of growing up and learning. Children love to sing, and parents and teachers naturally use songs with little ones to teach them concepts and language in a fun way.
And in this Level 1 teacher video, the team wanted a traditional song from the Caribbean, so they chose Dio. The performers, 18 students from second year and Standard 1 at Scarborough Methodist Primary School.
One of the main things is the actual excitement that the children had getting involved in the project. They were very excited to be a part of the filming, very, very enthusiastic.
I feel proud being in a video that's going to help others to learn English.
Gerana Douglas was one of those teachers who took the responsibility of training the children and sharing the importance of performing arts in education. She explains what numerous kids around the world will learn from this song.
Children remember and learn easier when they are singing, or when they're using actions, or when they're dancing, or when they're outside of classroom, most of all, So that in itself would have assisted them in learning the concept of 1, 2, 3, right up to 5, or even the concept of the fact that bananas don't grow single, but they grow in a bunch. So you would have seen like 2 lessons come out of there, one from agriculture and one in maths.
For their participation, the teachers and students all received National Geographic books as tokens of thanks. The school was given permission to be involved in the production from the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
Now, some say part of the lure of our Twin Island Republic is its multicultural nature. Many fall in love with this melting pot, often commenting on the tolerance of our citizens. There are also those who feel Trinidad and Tobago stands apart from other multicultural societies because here, all races live together and support the various religious festivals. In Trinidad, this is particularly evident, and although it's not very different here in Tobago, it's on a smaller scale. But this is set to change because the Hindu society in Tobago now has a permanent place to call home.
Hindus in Tobago worship at a private home in Mount Mary because they have no temple on this island. For years, they have been requesting land to be able to build their own. They finally got their wish. They received a deed for the land from the Chief Secretary over London. It's the first step to establishing a temple in Signal Hill.
Very, very happy and very, very elated that after all this struggle, for quite some years, that eventually we have reached to this point where it is the first step in securing a Hindu mandir in Tobago.
According to Mr. Sinanan, having a temple on the island will also have a positive impact on Tobago's cultural development and added social programs.
There is plans that we have, including a little cultural center, and we're hoping that this would go a long way in cementing the relationship between all the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
The Hindu temple should be completed within 2 years. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
Malala Yousafzai has been nominated twice for the Nobel Peace Prize and has been named one of Time magazine's most influential people, and she's only 17. But this came at a high price. You see, in certain countries like Pakistan, religious extremists don't want girls and women to be educated. But coming from a home where her father runs his own school, education has always been a priority for Malala. She stood up for this, speaking out against the Taliban, who had made it clear that girls and schools are not on their agenda. For this, she was shot but survived and now travels around the world fighting for the right to education for girls. Malala visited this country. Let's look back at the highlights from the Tobago leg of the trip.
Her very presence here in the conference room of the Office of the Chief Secretary can be considered something of a miracle, given what happened 2 years ago. As an advocate for the right of education for all girls and young women, then the unfortunate happened. The Taliban shot her in the head, leaving her in critical condition. But she survived, and now at age 17, she continues to stand up for this right around the world and inspire young women, even in Trinidad and Tobago.
It's such a warm welcome, and I'm very happy that I'm here in Tobago. The trip to Trinidad was very good. It was a very warm welcome, but here it's amazing, and it's a very small island, and I really love it.
She's inspired by Trinidad and Tobago, specifically because of this.
And here you have made it like the top priority that every child must get free and quality education, and not just at the primary level, but at the higher secondary and even at the university level they get support. So thank you so much for doing such a great work.
And while some might have given up after such a traumatic experience,
the thing that really strengthened me was the support of people. Wherever I go, whenever I meet people, they love me, they support me, and they say that we are with you in this campaign of education. And I have received like thousands of cards and letters from people. So this is the love of people and the support of people that is strengthening me to continue the campaign for education.
The trip to Tobago and Trinidad was courtesy the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training in celebration of the University of Trinidad and Tobago's 10th anniversary. I'm Omudara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
And that's how we bring this week's edition of Let's Talk Tobago to a close. We hope you enjoyed this special edition where we looked back at the stories that fueled our passion and ultimately made Tobago a better place during 2014. Do remember you can send us your comments to information@tha.gov.tt or even visit us at www.tha.gov.tt. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Davia Chambers, and on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, do have a safe and productive week. And as we go, let's leave you with some final images of the chic boutique hotel in Bon Accord.